independent grind, powered by Tech
Alright, we're talking to Wicca Phase, Springs Eternal. You may know him from his old band, Tiger's Jaw's new collective, Gothboiclique, which includes Lil Peep, Lil Tracy, Horsehead, and more. You just dropped a new project called Stop Torturing Me. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's 5 songs. It's produced by Horsehead. Horsehead's also in GBC, and is like one of my closest friends in music in general, I guess. But for this, I wanted to do more like upbeat songs, up tempo tracks, and it's kind of like my punk album, even though it doesn't really sound like a punk album, but in spirit it is, and I think I succeeded in that.
Yeah, so I really like the sound of it because listen to like Secret Boy, it's like pretty relative to that, but it kind of seemed like you had I don't know, it's like you found like your little sound and Stop Torturing Me. So are you gonna keep switching it up, or what's to come in the future?
I think I have to. If I had it my way, I would put out 20 Stop Torturing Me, because I really love how that sounds.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that was like a really cohesive album, and it made sense as far as like what I've released in the past, and it seemed like the natural progression to go into that. And I really like how it's minimal guitar tracks, and it's pretty much just like one guitar track or bass track and the beat. And I love that, and I wish I could keep doing that, but I think people would get sick of it. So yeah, I mean, at least for a little bit, I'll be switching it up. But when it comes time to release a proper album, I think that's the album that I'll look back to and try and pull from the most.
Right. So you're gonna keep working with Horsehead, or you're gonna start switching it up a little bit with that as well?
I'm doing. I have a few projects now. A few EPs lined up that are all similar to During Me, where they're like 4 to 5 song EPs with one producer each. So I have one with Fox Wedding. He produced the song Secret Boy.
Yeah.
I have one coming up with him, and I mean that's a lot different sounding. It's a little bit slower. There's still some like up tempo songs on there, but yeah, it's a little bit slower. And the songs are a little bit longer. That makes it sound boring, but it's not. I promise it's not
Fox
boring.
Wedding produced Absolute in Doubt with Lil Peep, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, he's an amazing producer. And I am so fortunate that I was able to connect with him. I love that dude. So yeah, I have something coming out with him. I have again like a few of those short EPs lined up, just because I don't have a ton of recording time, and it's easier for me to stick to those short projects and pump them out quicker. But they're also more cohesive sounding. I don't need to worry about trying to record 20 songs and then trimming it down to a 10-song album that sounds cohesive when there's 10 different producers on there. That's always tough.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of the way that it's going, especially with just like all these guys popping up all over SoundCloud and a bunch of stuff. You're seeing more smaller projects, but good quality projects at a quicker pace. But kind of still talking about guys like Horsehead and a couple of the other dudes you're affiliated with. How'd you originally get linked up with people like that, and Gothboiclique with Lil Tracy, Lil Peep, and all those guys?
Yeah, it was through Tumblr, actually. Probably like, oh my God, it's 2017, so probably like around 2011. Maybe a little bit later than that. I met Coldheart through Tumblr, and I had just known of him through like just following his blog. He had a good aesthetic, and he was producing songs at the time. He had some like songs that he produced for Lil B and stuff.
Nice.
And so I started talking to him through there, and then I think he found out that I was in Tiger's Jaw or something, and we started working. And then it was through NetArb that I ended up meeting like Horsehead and MacNet and and all those guys. And I mean, I think NetArt is the reason that everyone knows everyone, like on the underground right now. So yeah, it was through that, but Cold Heart was definitely the first person I knew. Then Horsehead, then MacNed, and then I didn't meet Tracy until a few years later, and Peep I just met in the past year. And again, that was NetArt telling me like, hey, there's this kid out there that's like blowing up, and he's a fan of yours, or you guys have similar sounds or something like that. And then before you knew it, Lil Peep was Lil Peep, and and he wanted to join GBC, and I was like, yeah, of course. I think it was Horsehead who first suggested it, but it just made sense.
So are you like the creator, or is there like three creators?
Well, I mean, it was me and Cold Heart who started it. The name comes from a Cold Heart. I mean, he produces under the name J too. So he used to post like all of his beats on Bandcamp, and one of them was called Gothboiclique, and I thought that was like so cool. So me and him started calling ourselves Gothboiclique, and then Horsehead joined, and I think Horsehead was the first person to like put it on a T-shirt, and that made it official. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, the three have been in it the longest, but it started it with Cold Heart.
Well, I know you've spoke on it a lot recently, but can you take us to the start of Tiger's Jaw and just kind of your entrance and your transformation to what you're doing now?
Yeah, for sure. The start of Tiger's Jaw?
Yeah, just how that's kind of how people knew you, and then you took on Wicca Phase, kind of like the transformation there.
Yeah, so I was like, when I was like 15, I mean, I had always been in bands since I was like 12 or 13. Like I was singing in one when I was like in 6th or 7th grade or something like that. And then I started doing acoustic shows, and I met Ben Walsh, who is the other singer in Tiger's Jaw. And I met him at an acoustic show that I was doing in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And he offered, I don't know if he offered to like help me record or something like that, but he played drums, and at the time he played drums, and I think he played everything really. So we just started recording songs in my parents' basement. Again, that was probably like over 10 years ago. And then, eventually I think Brianna was the next person to join. We knew her through mutual friends, and then Pat and Dennis joined. They're in a band called Three Man Cannon that is still active and awesome. And they joined. So shortly after, Brianna joined too. So then we had like our core 5 members, and yeah, I mean, I think the 5 of us were that band for probably 5 years or something, maybe more. But also, like, I would say around like 2011, 2012, I started just doing like stuff like home recordings with keyboards, and just like messing around with like GarageBand and different recording softwares and stuff. And I had no idea like what it was going to sound like, what I wanted it to sound like. I just wanted to do something on my own, and I wanted to do electronic music. That was like my only goal, was I want to do pre-programmed beats or something like that, and that's it. I had no idea what it would sound like or something, but over time I started to figure out how that works, and how getting beats from people works and stuff like that. And there's other people out there who are way better at producing music than I am. I was never really that good at playing instruments or anything like that. I did it, but there's people who are a lot better, and really I just wanted to sing. So it was probably around like 2012, 2013 when I really started to figure out like, all right, this is what it's going to be. These are the people I'm going to affiliate myself with, etc.
So is Tiger's Jaw still around?
Yeah, Tiger's Jaw is still around. Like, I was still doing it. The first Wicca Phase shows that I did were like I would do like after parties, like after Tiger's Jaw shows. And I think people thought I was doing like acoustic shows or something. I don't know. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing though, because I don't think I had music out yet. So I would like trick them.
Yeah, I remember seeing like your solo acoustic stuff, and then
Yeah.
it was like the electronic, and then Tiger's Jaw just recently released a song, correct?
Did they?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
It's like down to the two of them right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know they have like people who like semi regularly play with them. I don't know if they're like official members or what.
Yeah.
But I know they recorded a new album. I don't think I'm like speaking out of turn or anything by saying that, but I know they recorded a new album, which I think would have been like the first big thing that they've released since I left the band and Pat and Dennis left the band.
Cool, cool. So, where are you located? Are you still in Pennsylvania, or you make the move yet?
Yeah. No, I never left. I
Still
never
there?
left
Well, I
Pennsylvania.
saw your recent stuff. You popped up in LA, and
Mhm.
that was kind of I watched some videos of you guys doing some shows and whatnot. So you're back in Pennsylvania. You plan on staying out there?
I don't know. If someone wants to pay me to move somewhere else,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Do you do a lot of
It's so
traveling?
cheap to live out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, over the past year I have. Before that, no, I didn't. But over the past year, like, I've been getting flown to shows and stuff. I also think people think I live in LA, like,
Yeah.
just, because everyone else does.
Yeah.
So, like, they'll ask me to do shows and then realize they have to fly me out. But, yeah, I don't know. I travel like once every other month or something. I'm doing a few shows with Peep coming up next month,
Nice.
and that'll be like the most consecutive shows I've done as Wicca Phase.
Oh yeah.
Is that going to be the Peep Show tour?
Yeah, I'm just doing some of it. I'm just doing like the East Coast, some of the East Coast dates.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
You guys got a GBC tour coming soon?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. It's tough because there's 10 of us,
Yeah.
and it's like 10 front men, so
Right.
it's kind of tough to to make that happen. But yeah, ideally, that's the goal.
Just pull the Kanye and Jay-Z where you each do like one song and then trade off. Just like a bunch
That's
of
what
people.
we've been doing.
Yeah. That's like the new
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Just pass it off, play the song, and
Yeah.
they step up.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Definitely.
Your voice
Not to backtrack too
Voice
much.
doesn't die.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, absolutely. Not to backtrack too much, but just kind of talking about. I mean, you've got, especially after Alec, showed me your stuff. You've definitely got a different sound. I mean, the whole Gothboiclique has a sound that's its own right now, and it's kind of almost like a spin-off of, like you hear some influence from punk rock and a bunch of different shit, even like a little bit of metal or hardcore, which we're seeing just all throughout rap right now. But whenever you're making the transition from, like Tiger's Jaw into the kind of music you're doing now, who were some of your influences that you were listening to, like, that kind of maybe made you want to make the or sing over the type of music that you do now?
I think it was, Crystal Castles was like really big, in like 2010, 2011. And that was like the most immediate, like, all right, I don't know what that is, but I want to do that. And then like Salem was a major influence. Around that time I heard of Picture Plane, who, I just played with last month, and that was like a dream come true. But I think Picture Plane is like a really good example of like a GBC like predecessor, because he was doing like dark music, and it's pretty punk. There's some hardcore influence there too, but it's his own sound, and I really like that. So I didn't know exactly what I wanted it to sound like, but yeah, like Salem, Crystal Castles, Picture Plane were the big ones, and then like 80s stuff, New Order, Joy Division, the standards.
Right. So how do you feel, because we had Ghostmen on probably 2 weeks ago, something like that, and we were just kind of talking to him about how, like, like Greg was saying, all these new guys coming out and whatever, and we classify it as rap, and I feel like you guys get tossed into like the rap scene, which It's close. I mean, I wouldn't say that it is exactly rap. And Ghostman kind of said the same thing. He was just like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of just the group that we're entering in, and that's kind of the genre that we're classified as. How do you see that with Gothboiclique, like you guys as a whole?
Man, I don't know. I mean, Ghostman seems to have said it pretty well. Like, yeah, without rap, like, we wouldn't, we wouldn't have any. It would be really hard for us to break into anything, you know. So that's like the most immediate thing. And I think if you were like listening to Tiger Shot and then listen to GDC or Wicca Phase or anything like that, you'd be like, oh, he's rapping now. But I don't know. It's definitely rap influenced, but at the same time, like, I see this as it could be like the new pop punk or something like that. You know, it could be like, I see like young kids doing what we're doing now. And it's the same thing that I was doing when I first started Blink-182 and I was in 8th grade, just trying to imitate that. And so there's like some sort of like pop punk influence to it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's really weird. The times in general are really weird, where the internet made it possible for everyone to get their music out there.
This is the genius, Chris Calico. Cali, baby! Letting you know you're tuned into Tech Nine's Independent Grind on Dash Radio.